We are live. What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. I know you guys used to seeing us in the evening, but we decided to wake up this early morning. Well, actually, early morning for me. Fog woke me up. Early morning because Fog wanted to talk college football. We're college football guys, and we definitely want to bring you this early morning review on the West Coast. It should be about 12:30 over there on the East Coast, depending on where you are. Welcome to the two-man front. We are going to be talking about. Actually, I'm Be Easy, Brian and Drew. That's Fog, Stephen Fogbeck of Objectively Biased Sports. And we are going to be talking about college football today. We're college football guys. We love college football. We're going to be talking about the college football review. We're going to be talking about the breaking news of course, Jimbo Fisher being fired. We're going to talk about that. We're going to bring you not the CFP, our top 4 teams in the college football playoff. We're going to talk about the best one-loss team in college football. Who is the best one-loss team in all the land? I think Alabama and Oregon have kind of separated themselves, so we're going to keep it just to them. And if you guys want to chime in and say there's another team out there, we can talk about that. And then, of course, our bread and butter, our winners and losers of Week 11. We're talking about that in terms of college football. And, of course, the Heisman front runner. This is probably the tightest race we have seen in quite a while because I don't think anybody has really separated themselves. So I'm really, really, really excited to talk about that. But of course, before we begin, please don't be afraid. Leave a comment below. Please chime in. We love hearing from you guys. We will respond. We will put your responses on the screen so everybody can chime in. And definitely, we love talking to you guys. Makes the show go a lot faster. Well, not faster. Well, we don't want to go as fast. But it makes it go a lot smoother, I should say, and a lot more fun when we can interact with you guys throughout the entire show. And, of course, subscribe to our pages. Subscribe to BET Sports and Entertainment on Facebook. And, of course, Objectively Biased Sports on Facebook as well. And you can watch us on YouTube, on Two Men Front on YouTube, or on BET Sports and Entertainment on YouTube as well. All right, Fog. Let's jump right into it. Breaking news, of course. Jimbo, my best friend, Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher has been fired from, well, not officially, but he's most likely will be fired pretty soon here from Texas A&M after 5 wins. Here's his resume. I wanted to put that up just to kind of give you a kind of a snapshot of what he has done in the 5+ year, plus his 2 top recruiting classes. 45 wins, 25 losses, 3 bowl appearances, 3 bowl wins. So he's 3-0 in bowl game, which is you say it's good. 0 SEC West titles, 0 college football playoff berths. And again, of course, that's with, I believe, 1 or 2 definitely top recruiting classes in college football. And of course, that huge number at the bottom, a $75 million buyout. So he's leaving happy. Well, not happy, but his pockets are kind of fat right now, right? Fog, give us your instant reaction of Jimbo Fisher being fired.
I mean, he's done. Look, he's done okay. But what you paid him for, what you paid him to bring to the program, he's failed.
Yeah,
he's absolutely failed. So I'm not shocked at this at all. I'm just curious to see what direction Texas A&M is going to go with. Again, it's not official, but Jimbo Fisher is more than likely out as the head coach for Texas A&M. And like I said, I want to see what direction they go, who they're going to look for to replace him.
A lot of names floating out right now. A lot of names. Interesting enough. There's a lot of names I don't agree with, but people are just having fun right now. Like Danny Lanning of Oregon, head coach of Oregon, is being mentioned. Maybe he's trying to find his way back to the SEC. Even Mike Norvell's name. Like, what type of not like when I saw that name, that pissed me off. Everybody knows I'm a Florida State fan. Because so when I saw that name on some list, I'm like, give me a break. Mike Norvell is building something special at Florida State. He's not leaving. Mike Elko of Duke is another one. He's doing pretty well. I think good big things at Duke. So there's that. They even said there are some lists that even said that possibly Bobby Petrino can move back up into that, even though he's not the greatest character guy. But we saw what he did at Louisville. We saw what he did at Arkansas, right? So he obviously can coach football. 2 names that I wanted to talk about real quick that I feel like will be interesting and be a lot of fun to talk about. It's one, obviously, Urban Meyer. right? Urban Meyer is going to be on everybody's list. Okay, I think that's fair to say, right? Urban Meyer, whenever someone gets fired, a big time coaching job opens up, Urban Meyer should be at the top of everyone's list. And I think A&M should give him at least take a flyer. And I'm not even sure if Urban Meyer would even want this job. I'm not even sure if he's somebody that even would even say, "Is this even a job I even want?" And then another name, it came from a guy on one of the pages who follows the page on BEC Sports. He brought this up, and I was like, "Oh God, I can't even fathom him actually doing this because the backlash he will receive." He says he feels like Texas A&M could kick the tires of Coach Prime and see what's going on over there of Dion.
Nah, no way.
That's what I said. I was like,
No
I don't
way.
even think Dion is that brash and bold to literally just uproot Colorado after one season and take the hottest job he sees. I don't think he would want that reputation. I don't think he can afford to do that. Like, I don't think he can. And afford, I mean, like reputation wise, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he can do that. So
Nah, there's no way.
no, I don't think so either. So it's gonna be interesting who they get. I mean, Jimbo, I was gonna put a poll out literally like right before I saw this news about who's the most overrated coach in college football. Jimbo's name was gonna go on there.
And
And
then bam, rumor mill.
then yeah. And I still may do it, but yeah, Jimbo's easily the one of the most overrated coaches in college football. But we'll see. We'll see where he lands as well. We'll see what happens to him. He probably go on TV or something like that, and then
What's his name from Washington could be a guy that they take that people look at. Kalen DeBauer.
yeah, no, yeah, absolutely, no, absolutely. I mean, man, but one thing that people don't realize, man, the SEC West is tough. It is probably the toughest division in college football. I mean, you have Alabama, you have LSU, you have A&M, you have Ole Miss, right? You have Arkansas. Like, it is so hard.
Now, what happens next year? Do Texas and Oklahoma go into the
Oh,
SEC West as well, or is there going to be a realignment of the East and West?
I I was actually just thinking that when I was making this post. I'm not 100% sure. I would think they're going to keep them together, right? And there's going to be some alignments possibly. I would think they keep Texas, Oklahoma in the same
Because if you
bracket.
put them in the SEC West and you still leave, what is it, LSU and Alabama,
Alabama
and man, that is going to
and
be a
Ole Miss. I
gauntlet.
think what I think that's the point. Like, I think they would just make it more balanced and put them both in the East. Put them both in the East. Then you have Georgia, Florida, and then those two, and then you would have Alabama, LSU, Ole Miss, Arkansas, A&M. Like,
Yeah.
then it's just a little more balanced. Like, I don't think they're gonna. That'd be crazy if they put them both in the West, because geographically it makes sense, but I don't think they put them both in the West. There's no way. There's absolutely no way. What's up, Dennis? Good to see you, bud. All right, let's move on to our college football playoff picks. All right, so Fog, both of us have made our own brackets, right?
Yep.
Okay, so here's our brackets for those who are watching, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you go first and explain why you have your four, and I'll explain I have my four. Again, these are our picks, not the committee.
Yes.
The committee obviously has Ohio State number one for whatever reason. We don't really know why, but Paul, go ahead and give us an explanation to
Well,
why you have your four.
I have. I mean, the order is whatever to me. Could Georgia be number one and Michigan be two? I agree. You could flip flop either one of them. I've maintained consistency. I've had Michigan number one all year. And they've done nothing to change my mind about it. If you want Georgia number one, that's perfectly fine too. But Michigan and Georgia should be one or two. I think the committee got it wrong with putting Ohio State number one. I think that was idiotic. When I look at Washington and I look at Florida State, and I started the year off by saying, "B, watch out, because Florida State could be a playoff team." And you told me, "Don't jinx it." You said,
No.
"Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it by saying that." I said, "I'm telling you, they could be a playoff team." Washington has absolutely impressed me, and what they're doing right now and the way they're balling out right now is extremely impressive as well. Look, they have no defense, but 85 to 90% of these college football teams have no defense. What Washington is doing
They really
is
don't.
exhausting other teams' defenses because their offense gets out there, scores, their defense gives up score right back, and then they come down and score again. Your defense, by the time you're in the fourth quarter of this back and forth, you're going, shit, I can't keep up anymore. And Washington is finding ways to make stops and plays when they need to in the fourth quarter to give them an advantage. If you cannot create turnovers against Washington, Washington can have a chance to beat any one of these teams that are in the top five. They absolutely have a chance because of how potent and explosive that offense is with Johnson at the running back position and with Michael Penix Jr. at the quarterback position.
Oof. All right. So you have Michigan 1, Georgia 2, Ohio State 3, Washington 4. Okay. So that's your 4. All right. And it's, I mean, great points. I have Georgia number 1. I think Georgia has reclaimed themselves, in my opinion, as the best team in college football. I think they have. I think they have, I think I think the college football committee putting them number 2 has really like maybe upset them, and it's kind of given Kirby Smart some new some new bulletin board material. I have Michigan number 2. I think Michigan. I mean, look, everybody was waiting for Michigan to be a viable team, to beat a ranked team or whatever, and when they did, they went on the road and they beat Penn State. And I tell everybody that, look, this is a really good football team, really, really good, solid, complete football team, and I still almost believe that they're the best team in college football, honestly, overall. And they went into Penn State, Happy Valley, and they beat them. And look, we said this the last month of the season, Michigan is going. We're going to figure out what Michigan is, right? Ohio State, I've been impressed with the last couple of weeks. They had a pretty big win, pretty good win. But they should have beat the brakes off Michigan State, which they should have done. Florida State, all right, like I'm a fan. I almost took him out. I'm not gonna lie to you. I almost took him out. However, I still wholeheartedly believe they have at least one of the best wins in college football, and that's demolishing LSU. Now I know LSU has lost 3 games, but it's not like LSU has looked bad. LSU just lost 3 games, right? And they've had a tough schedule. I mean, LSU is one of the best teams.
Yeah, but you don't even have Washington at 5 or
I don't.
6, and Washington beat Oregon, and Washington is continuing to defeat top 25 and top 15 teams.
Hey, these are my rankings, right? Okay. Florida State to me has not done anything in my eyes, done nothing to lead the top 4. Right. I know they're just hanging on. They beat Miami. It's a rivalry game. So you gotta kind of grade those games on a curve. It's a rivalry game. And Miami's not a bad team either. So Florida State took care of them. Florida State's doing what they need to do, take care of business. As long as they take care of business, I think they're gonna get in. Right. And like these next few games. What's up, boy? Your son's behind you, by the way. These next few games, they just have to take care of business. Oregon, to me, Oregon could easily be in the top 4. Like, no question about Oregon. I could easily just switch Oregon and Florida State because you can make the argument that Oregon's a better football team than Florida State. You would put them on the same field right now. I'm not saying Oregon would dog walk Florida State. No, not at all. But it could go either way, right? But the one loss Oregon has bothers me a little bit. It is to Washington. I'll explain that in a minute. And Alabama. Team in college football. I know Oregon is Oregon, and they've been playing well. But Alabama right now is with the way Jalen Monroe is playing. I don't think anybody wants to play the University of Alabama right now. I think they are a team that has found themselves defensively. Their impact players are coming along. They're beating teams handily on their schedule. I think Alabama right now. The reason why I don't have Washington in my top 6 right now is the eye test, Falk. I take the eye test pretty seriously, right? It's who I believe can line up against any of these 6 teams. And I know that Washington and Oregon played. I get it. They won the head-to-head. And I know that's kind of illogical, but I watched that whole game, right? Oregon should have won that game. Like, Oregon screwed themselves. I don't care anybody. Oregon should have won that game. And like, it felt like Oregon had that game in control the entire time, right? But they just faltered it, right? And Oregon should have won that game. That's why I think Oregon is the better football team than Washington. Overall, you put them on the same field right now, again, neutral site or wherever, Oregon wins that game. Oregon wins that football. That's why. And I think Alabama, you put Alabama and Washington on a neutral site, I think Alabama takes out Oregon because of the physicality of Alabama, and defensively, I think Alabama can stop Washington and Penix Jr., right? Pretty much the same way, Oregon didn't stop Penix Jr., but Oregon, contained them at the very least, right? Yeah. So Washington, to me, does not look like one of the 4 best teams. And it's really, really hard for me to sit here and say, do I think Oregon and Alabama, or do I think Washington is better? Just better, a better football team, not record-wise. I know the record obviously is better, but are they better than Alabama and Oregon? I couldn't bring myself to say yes. And that's pretty much my explanation to why I don't have Oregon. Oregon's not even in my. Washington is not in my picture. So it's tough. This is one of those years where this can go really either way. It can go really either way. Speaking of Alabama and Oregon, all right, and also I'm gonna put this up. I'm gonna put this up on our pages. You guys tell us who has it right between us two. Who's closer to being right? Who's closer to being right in terms of our top 4 in our college football playoff rankings? Our top 4, and you guys let us know who's closer to having it right. Is it Fog, who has Michigan, Georgia, Ohio State, and then Washington, or was it myself, who have Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, and Florida State? People hate Florida State. Like, like, people just don't like us. I don't know why. People just hate us. But speaking of one-loss teams, this will be a hell of a ball game. Like, if these 2 teams don't get in, they have to make sure these 2 teams play. But Fog, right now, if you were to line up Alabama, Oregon, neutral site, who wins?
I'm taking Alabama. They're the hotter team. You look at what Alabama has done over the course of their last 7 straight wins. They've taken out Ole Miss, who was ranked 15th, 24-10 at the time. They took out Tennessee, 34-20, who was ranked 17th at the time. They mollywopped LSU, 42-28. And then this past weekend, they bodied Kentucky. Their only tough loss was early on in the season to Texas, 34-24. So I'm looking at this team, and I'm looking at the way they're cooking right now. And you mentioned Milroe. He hasn't passed for under 220 yards in 5 straight games. He's rushed for over 100 yards 2 of the last 5 games. He is really looking solid. Really, really looking solid. I love the way they're gelling right now. And Alabama, you said it earlier, they're probably the hottest team right now, completely on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively.
I don't want to play Alabama right now. If I'm any team right now, the top 4 or any team in college football vying for a playoff spot, I do not want to play. I don't want to play Alabama. There's no way. Like, they're mad, they're pissed off, and I found it kind of amazing how far they dropped after one game. Right? I know they were kind of struggling in the beginning there. I get it. I really get it. But like, they dropped. They were like at number 17 at one point. It was crazy. It was like, I know they struggled against Vanderbilt, and that really kind of rubbed people the wrong way. But we're going to talk about our Heismans, right? And I don't think either one of us have Jalen Monroe winning it. But if there's anybody that is storming right now. Like if he was playing like this from day one to now, we would be talking about Jalen Monroe possibly winning the Heisman Trophy because Urban Meyer even came out and said Jalen Monroe is the best college football player in the country. Now, he said, you talk about, I think he compared like Reggie Bush and he had Percy Harvin, obviously. And he was saying, like, in terms of like athlete, not in terms of like quarterback, right? But athlete, he's like, he's a guy that no one can really figure out and stop because they're running him so well. He's a running back. like he's not a running back, but he's like a hybrid of like a running back and a guy that can throw.
Yeah.
Right. He happens just to have a big arm. And man, he looks really, 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 really good. But
he's one hell of an athlete. No question about it.
No question about it. No question about it. Speaking of, I don't know how this person is playing with you, talking about you. He never misses an upper body day.
That's got to be Trisha. That's got to be Trisha. Worry about the Jets this weekend. Don't worry about my leg day.
It's gotta be Trisha because Trisha and I talk about we talk about that a lot. Not you, but like for working out. But I'm gonna go honestly. Best one-loss team. Man, I saw both these teams play yesterday. Damn, this is tough. This is hard. Like, I would say
go ahead, you could jump on the Bo Nix train finally and take Oregon.
They look really good, man. Like this is different. This is a different Oregon team than what we're used to seeing in the past. This is a physical. They run the football really well. I'm gonna give the slightest edge to Oregon because I feel like they've been consistent all year. Alabama kind of sputtered out of the gate, and the last month and change, they have figured it out. But Oregon has just been, man, they've been good. They're a solid football team. Solid football team. And it's the reason why I have Oregon ahead of Alabama in my ranking. Mm-hmm. Like that's pretty much why. I have Oregon ahead of Alabama in my ranking. So I'm not we'll get to that. We'll get to the whole Bo Nix train in a minute, but we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, man, Oregon, they're just if they get into the playoff, they can win.
They're going to be tough, man.
They can win the national championship. They can win it all. Like I wouldn't. They could win it. If Alabama gets in, they could win it all. But I would feel more confident if Oregon was to win it all. I would feel a lot more confident, man, because they're a force. They're a force. I saw them last night. Took care of USC. Like it was just I can't even believe I picked USC to upset them. Took care of USC. Just like it wasn't even a matchup. It wasn't even close.
No.
And this guy right here, number 0. What is his name? I always forget his name. Oh my goodness. Let me get his name. I love him. I love the guy a lot. Bucky Irving. I'm telling you something about this guy. This Bucky Irving, we're gonna do our college football draft shows. Don't be surprised if I have Bucky Irving as my top running back in the draft. If he comes out. I'm not sure he's eligible.
I don't know if he's eligible.
I feel like let's see what he is. Let me look. He is I feel like he is eligible. I feel like he transferred from somewhere.
Is he?
I feel like he transferred from somewhere.
He did. He transferred from Minnesota. He is
from Minnesota. He's a junior.
Yeah. He's
a
eligible.
Junior. One of the best backs in football, averaging 6.8 yards a carry, 10 touchdowns, and he just runs so tough. So tough. I love the way he runs. Like there's not a lot of jitterbug in him at all. I really appreciate that in his size. So he's kind of slight, 5'10", 195, but man,
he's very decisive and he hits the hole quick, man.
Really, really run. I love watching him. So anytime Oregon plays, I love watching that kid play. So I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to talk about him a little more as we get going. But yeah, I think these are the best 2 one-loss teams in college football, man. So we're gonna see how this plays out. The last couple of weeks, the smoke's gonna clear, and we're gonna see these 2 teams can easily be in the playoffs in the next couple of weeks. That's the crazy part. Easily, these 2 teams can be in the playoffs. All right, Fog. You know what we always do? We always talk about our winners and losers. Who's your biggest winner this week in
Well,
college football? Your biggest winner of week 11.
let's keep it rolling with the tie. That's my biggest winner. Like I said, if you look at what Alabama has done, and we just both said it now, we alluded to it. This is a team that if they make the playoff, you do not want to face this team. They're handling business. Again, they had a tough game against Arkansas, but Arkansas is not bad. They've played everybody tough so far this season.
Yeah.
Big win over Tennessee, big win over LSU, and they're just keeping it going. I mean, their last 3 games, they haven't scored any less than 34 points, and they haven't allowed more than 28 points. They are doing what they need to do. They're going to steamroll Chattanooga next week. We don't know what time that Auburn game is going to be, and I know it's in Auburn, and Auburn's going to try to play them tough, but I think they'll handle business there. And then you got Georgia. Look, I'll be honest with you. I think Alabama can run the table. I think they can beat Georgia on a neutral field.
Oh yeah. Georgia's look good.
I listen, Georgia.
I won't say that. I won't say it with that much conviction. I almost say it, but like
Georgia's turned up since I think it was like week 5 or week 6 when we were just questioning them, like, what are you guys doing? And then I forget who it was that they played that they just completely bodied, and I was like, oh, okay. Georgia woke up and said, yeah, we're done messing around. I think it was I think it might have been Kentucky. I think Georgia was, they beat a bunch of bums.
They struggled, yeah. No, they beat Kentucky, yeah.
But then when they struggled against Auburn, and then when they played Kentucky at the time I think was ranked in the top 15 when they played them, and they went in there and they beat the brakes off of Kentucky.
Yeah.
And since then they've been rolling. You can't
without Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
And they seemingly they're gonna get him back in a couple weeks, right? So, I mean, they're not even fully loaded, and they're just they have seemed to kind of reignite, kind of like Alabama. I mean, that's gonna be a collision course. That's going to be one hell of a collision. That's pretty much going to be a college football quarterfinal. I honestly believe who wins that game is in. Alabama beats Georgia, they're in.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely,
yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Like Kevin just said, they control their own destiny. That's all a team can ask for. They have an elite defense. They have a dynamic quarterback. Offensively, they're not great, but they have a quarterback that seems to get it. Like it seems to understand. And look, shout out to Tommy Rees for letting him just play and not just making him drop back and be a robotic quarterback. Like Tommy Rees is the offensive coordinator for Alabama, and obviously it's his first year on the job. And he played last night. He did. He was great last night. He did. He was good last night. And Jalen Monroe, is going to be the reason why Alabama wins or loses. That's what I'll say. He's going to be the reason why Alabama wins or loses. And you know what? It's funny. We're going to keep this ball rolling with Alabama because Jalen Monroe is my winner because he has been just incredible the last few weeks, right? He has been the best player. Did Brock Bowers play last night?
Oh, I guess he did.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't watch the game, so
I didn't watch the game either. I didn't know Brock was back. Okay, well, Brock is back. Wow, came back. I thought he had major surgery. I think they're talking about 6 weeks. Okay, well, Brock is back. But I appreciate that, Kevin. Thank you for letting us know that you're always on top of your SEC football. Jalen Monroe has been incredible. I mean, he has just been, again, he has been one of the best players in college football. We saw it last night. He had a great passing game. He was 15 for 22, 234. Didn't run the ball as much, but he had 3 touchdowns. He's the first SEC player in the history of that powered conference to pass for 3 and rush for 3. And that's saying a lot in a conference that has produced Tim Tebow. I would have thought Tim Tebow had done that, but he hasn't done that. So I mean, Jalen Monroe, again, to be like, if Jalen Monroe was playing like this throughout the season, we would be talking about him as a Heisman Trophy front runner, right? Not saying he would win it, but honestly,
He'd
he
be in
had
that
some games.
conversation.
He could be in the conversation. Let's see how he plays against Auburn. Let's see how he plays against Georgia. I mean, people are still watching. The votes are not in yet. He's been great. He's fun to watch. He's been great. And it's going to be interesting to see where he takes this team. All right, Fog. I was kind of shocked about who your loser was. Tell us who it is.
My loser is Ollie Gordon II, and the running back from Oklahoma State. And the reason he's my loser is because if you guys follow me on Objectively Biased Sports, I had him as one of my 5 Heisman candidates. And he turned it on. Like, he was cooking. He got off to a slow start. I think he had a total of 19 attempts in the first 3 games of the season. And then they started giving him the ball. 18 attempts, 121 rushing yards against Iowa State, and it only increased from there, where he had a stretch against Kansas, West Virginia, and Cincinnati, and Oklahoma. 168 yards rushing, 282, 271, 138. I think it was 9 touchdowns, 9 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown in one of those games. Yeah. And then yesterday, I don't know what Central Florida did. I need to go back and watch that shit.
I picked them. I picked that upset.
Upset? Bro, they beat the brakes off of Oklahoma State. It wasn't even close. Yeah. When I saw that score, he had 12 carries for 25 yards, and I'm going, what on God's green earth happened in that game? I need to go back to see that. Central Florida's play teams tough. I think didn't they almost beat Alabama?
Central Florida almost beat Alabama. Central Florida was in it with a lot of teams. They were in it with Alabama, and I believe I want to say Oklahoma. Don't quote me on that.
It might it was Oklahoma. They had a tough game that they lost because they couldn't get that onside kick. They almost got the onside kicks in that game. So UCF has been a solid football team. Yeah. But 12 carries for 25 yards? Bro, you whatever opportunity you had or a case you were making for yourself to have a certain quarterback that I'm gonna remain nameless right now until we talk about our Heisman front runners. You needed a good game, and 12 carries, 25 yards. That wasn't it.
Had he kept the pace he was on, he would have had a shot because they're a 3-loss team now. All right, so it's over. But they would have been if they would have won this game and he would have been on this pace, it would have been a 2-loss team, and they could have had a shot. Like, I'm seeing his numbers against South Alabama. He had like 3 carries for 12 yards. I don't know what the hell happened there. But
again, they didn't. He wasn't their starter.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. That makes sense because he did explode the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games until last night where he kind of laid an egg. But yeah, I mean, it's when you're a team like Oklahoma State and you have that many losses, you have to. Every game you play has to be astronomical, and your team has to win.
Yep.
So he's pretty much kind of played himself out of it. But Fog, it pains me to say this, but my loser, man, it's Colorado. I think it may be over for them in terms of being bowl eligible. I think
it's definitely over. I don't think I don't think they will be bowl eligible.
Yeah. I mean, this was the game they needed to win, at least to give themselves a fighting chance. Now that this was hard. I didn't watch much of this game. But it seemed like Colorado was in it all game. It wasn't a game where they had to come back like they had to and scrape back. They were in it all game. Arizona just made the kick. And it's tough, man, because they start off so hot and everybody was excited, and then they get into the nitty-gritty of their schedule. And look, they're not getting the one thing I will say, again, not a moral victory guy, but I know people hate moral victories, especially when it comes to like Deion and all that stuff. I get it. But they're not getting blown out in these games, right? It's not like they're getting like completely just like out. The Stanford loss was horrible.
Yeah.
That was their worst loss. In my opinion, the Stanford loss was at home too, but the Stanford loss was worse than the Oregon loss because Oregon's just a better team. Oregon's killing everybody, right? Stanford, like that was bad. I can't even. I'm not touching that one. I'm not even. Dion can. No. I'm not touching that one. But lost to UCLA by 2 scores. Lost to Oregon State by 2 score or 1 score. Field goal. Now they have Washington State, and then they have to go to Utah. Like, yeah, it's pretty safe to say that they're not going to be bowl eligible. I think they could maybe steal one in Washington State in Pullman, but I don't think they're going to win. No, I don't think they're going to beat Utah. There's just no way, right? There's no way they beat Utah. So my
In
loser,
Utah, no less? No way.
yeah, my losers is Colorado because they're not. I think both of us understand that with the great Bo Nix, yeah, yeah, okay. um, I think both of us know that they're not going to become bowl eligible, and it's going to be back to the drawing board for Dion. And I'm excited to see what they come back with because I do believe going to the Big 12 next year, a little easier schedule. Texas, Oklahoma leaving as they come in. I mean, I don't know who's going to be the cream of the crop now of that conference. Is it going to be them? Is it going to be TCU? Is it going to be UCF? I don't really know. I mean, that conference is clearly up for grabs now. So there really shouldn't be a lot of excuses for Colorado next year, right? Because they're going to a pretty
well, isn't Sanders leaving this year?
Who, Shador?
Yeah.
No, I mean, all reports his dad is saying he's coming back.
Yeah, if he comes back, then that'll benefit Colorado a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he will too. I think going out on a high note, and also, I mean, Shador Sanders is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. You can say what you want about him.
Yeah.
You can say like he's flashy, the watch thing, and all this other stuff. I don't care what anybody says. He's one of the best quarterbacks, and especially with the pounding he's taking. Like his numbers, I don't have them up right now, but go look at his numbers right now. Like I think he's completing damn near 70% of his passes, right? And I think he's up there with touchdown pass. Like his touchdown interception ratio is pretty damn good. This guy can play. Honestly, I'm glad he's gonna get another year because he's gonna get another year of Power 5 football under his belt. He may very well be the top quarterback out of the 2025 draft. He may very well be that guy. So let's see. This is a massive improvement, but it fell short of what was sold. But it's a lot better than they've had. I don't understand what. This is the question. I'm glad this guy said this.
What was sold? The media sold it.
Yeah, Dion didn't sell anything.
Dion said that this team was going to be a different team. That they were going to be. He brought it. Look, and I remember people giving me hell when I made the comparison to Floyd Mayweather and what Dion is doing. But listen to me. He brought a brashness. He brought a polarizing character that, again, when you are that polarizing, when it's either love or hate, people are going to watch. He brought viewership. He brought relevance. He brought eyes to Colorado. And guess what that's going to bring in? That's going to bring in 4- and 5-star recruits.
He's doing that.
I don't believe that them not making a bowl. I didn't think they would make a bowl game, to be honest with you. I had them at 5 wins at best to start the season off. Colorado's they're performing better than I thought they would perform because they flipped the entire roster. Do you know how difficult it is to play competitive football, flipping an entire roster?
Well, I brought that
like
argument up like with so many people, and people just don't get it. And that's why I'm kind of like take a step back from the Colorado discussions because it's an excuse after an excuse after an excuse. Like people are okay, people online are saying he takes sacks to avoid messing up his completion percent. Like, give me a break.
He takes sacks because he's trying to make plays. That's the problem. He's doing nothing different than Ben Roethlisberger used to do with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's holding on to the ball too long, trying to make the play.
he's doing nothing different than what he's being coached to do. Is in the step up and try to make a play, like you said. He's not going to just take this. He's not going to just get annihilated.
Let me take the sack to protect my completion percentage. For that, you do what Aaron Rodgers does.
You throw it away. And look, and Aaron Rodgers, for what it's worth, it's kind of helped him. He's not Aaron Rodgers. I'm not doing that. He's not Aaron Rodgers, but I'm just saying it's Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks ever, right? So it's not like it's a bad thing to throw the football away, right? Your coach do that. Your coach players are taught to do what? Live to fight another day. down, right? I don't have the discussions anymore about the Colorado because people just love to just pile up on them. I understand the bravado and I get it. It was easy to root against them. I understand that completely. But like you said, Fogg, for them to completely flip a roster, literally flip a roster in less than a year, in a spring and a summer, and to come out and win this many games, 4 games, and to be in these games. That, for me, that shows me 2 things. Deion can coach. Deion's a hell of a coach. And they got the right guys on the team, right? They got the right guys. And with the recruits that are coming in, the 5-stars that are coming in, people are believing, right? These kids are watching this, and they are believing.
Yes.
Okay. And that's just that's all you need. That's what Deion is really selling. He's selling to kids who are coming in that we are coming. That's what the motto is, right? We're coming. And I think next year is obviously going to be vastly improved, going to a pretty easier conference, right? And obviously a year or 2 under the belt of Shador and Prime is going to do him a lot of good. So losers this year, because they're not going to make a bowl game. I think you and I, Fogg, agree on that, right?
They're not making a bowl game.
But next year should be vastly improved with what they're going and coming in with. So it should be fun next year. All right, Fogg. We love Heisman talk. They love Heisman talk. Let's give them Heisman talk. Heisman front runners. Who are your guys, Fogg? Who's your Heisman Trophy front runner?
It's between 2 guys for me. It's Michael Penix Jr. and Jaden Daniels. And Jaden Daniels, good God, what he did yesterday. What he did yesterday. It's how do you not have him? For me, I had Penix Jr. at number 1 and Daniels at number 3. They're neck and neck. It's a tie for me. But if I had to make a decision today, I'm taking Daniels and LSU. If I had to make a decision today, I'm taking Daniels and LSU because I do believe Penix Jr. has a better offensive cast of players around him. That's why I think Washington's offense is better than LSU's offense. And I don't think Penix Jr. I don't think he's getting enough credit for what he does. I think we were so enamored with Jaden Daniels, but man, after yesterday, it is hard to come off of Jaden Daniels and say, yeah, this guy can't be. He's not it. I mean, 234 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, 372 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, completing 65% of his passes. He only had 26 attempts. He was averaging 16 yards per attempt. And it's not like he hasn't been doing this. Jaden Daniels has been putting up numbers all season. All season. So right now I would have to give him the slightest of edges over Penix Jr.
I'm not even I'm not even mad at you because, I'm looking at his, if LSU is a 1-loss team right now with his numbers and with the game he had yesterday, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't want to say it wouldn't be a runaway, but he'd be, bro.
He might be the clear-cut favorite.
I wish I would have saved this tweet or something. I saw somebody compare his numbers to Joe Burrow's numbers when Joe Burrow won the national championship in 2019. They were pretty comparable until Jaden Daniels, not in terms of like passing, but in terms of the production and the
Yeah.
efficiency, the efficiency that he has. And we all know that Joe Burrow's great, not taking anything away from him, but he did have one of the greatest offenses of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. I mean, your favorite player, Clyde Edwards-Helaire at running back, and the offensive line. Like, I mean, if we're being honest here, we're being completely honest and unbiased. You know, that was a great team, but I actually had to verify those numbers. I wasn't really sure what I was looking at. I was like, wait, do they mean he had 234 yards rushing over the last like couple games? Like, or in one game? And
I did a double take on that. I mean, this man almost 600 yards in total offense, and he was
bro, like this should have been one of his like Heisman moment games, but because it was they're a 3-loss team, man. That loss, they beat if they beat Alabama last week and he has this game this week, then he's in the conversation. He's in it. I mean, he's well in it, but they're a 3-loss team. They're not going to give it to a 3-loss team guy. So it's going to be either Penix Jr. or it's going to be this guy. It's going to be this man.
Oh my God.
Look, man, look. I told you I watched that entire game yesterday. I can't deny what he's doing. It's hard. I'm not sitting here and saying he's the best, obviously not the best quarterback prospect, like going into the NFL. I don't think he is.
No.
But when you're almost completing 80% of your passes, dude, 29 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, he has the W's. He's destroying teams. When he lost to Washington, he was 33 for 44, 2 touchdowns, no picks. I mean, look, Frog, this was your boy at Auburn. I still don't believe in him. I still don't believe in him in terms of NFL prospect. But I don't know. I mean, I get Penix Jr. has the head-to-head. But in terms of consistency, like just consistency across the board with a lesser offense than Washington, right? Because you even said it. Washington has the better arsenal of talent.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah.
But he also has the most complete team.
Oh yeah. He's
got the most complete team,
no
and that was the one concern when that head-to-head happened.
Yeah,
I told you. I said, if Washington wins, it's going to be because they turned the game into a shootout, and Oregon wasn't able to stop them because Oregon has the better defense.
No question.
Oregon's definitely the more complete team.
No question about it. Yeah, no. That they're possibly the best one-loss team in the country. Right? Arguably, you can make the argument they may be the best team in the country, even with one loss. Like you have that argument, right? He said he'll get Van Miller. Look, man, look. The Heisman Trophy is not always the best prospect. It's just not. Like it's not. Tim Tebow won the Heisman Trophy, right? It goes to the best. It changes, right? Either the best player or the most impressive, or like I don't know. It's not an MVP, right? But if it was, man, Bo Nix. I mean, his numbers.
Listen, if Marvin Harrison Jr. can have a spectacular game against Michigan and Ohio State upsets Michigan,
no way.
Then that's somebody that we are all going to have to look at as a Heisman Trophy candidate.
Ooh, Marvin
Harrison Jr.
I looked at his numbers before we came on, and I compared him to Devontae Smith. He doesn't have the touchdowns.
No, that's the only problem. He doesn't have the touchdowns.
And I think Devontae Smith, I think he took back a couple punts, if I'm not mistaken. So he has some special teams as well. Look, Marvin Harrison
doesn't have the touchdowns, but I'll be honest with you, Ohio State doesn't have any remotely close to the offense that Devonta Smith was working with in Alabama.
Not even close. Look, you like Mac Jones. I didn't, but Mac Jones we could agree that he was a pretty good college quarterback, right? He knew what he was doing. right? And I don't know. I honestly don't even know the name of Ohio State's quarterback. I always forget, but he's like meh. Like, but if you gave like college, if you gave Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., or Marvin, if you gave Marvin Harrison Jr., Caleb Williams, or even Bo Nix, right?
Yeah.
I think we'd have a different conversation. We're having a different conversation with Marvin Harrison Jr. because he.
Oregon might be undefeated if they had Marvin
Oh
Harrison
yeah.
Jr.
Oh yeah. No, for real. No. Honestly, like
We're not talking about Washington and Penix Jr.
the eighth year senior showing consistency is it? Hey, you can, if you're gonna say that about him, say the same thing about Penix Jr. because he's been in college football for about 6-7 years as well.
Yeah, he was in Indiana 2 years, and now this is like his third year in Washington.
I'm the last person to defend Bo Nix, okay? Because I thought he was hot.
He is
garbage at Auburn.
We had these conversations.
I'm surprised he's even in discussions right now. But you can't say that about Bo Nix. You can't say that about Bo Nix if you're not gonna say anything about Penix Jr. because he's been in college football since I was like in 8th grade as well. Okay, so I mean you got to be consistent, right? But it should be the best story. Why you need a Heisman moment. That's why you need a Heisman moment. Look, I mean, it is a good story. You're right. It is a good story. But I mean, just again, Bo Nix's numbers are just crazy.
Yeah, no,
like it's insane. Like he's balling. He's balling. Like he's balling and he's consistent. Like he's not like it's gonna be a neck and neck race. It's gonna go to the Pac-12. One of the Pac-12 quarterbacks. It's gonna be Penix Jr. or Bo Nix. Everyone else is just gonna go to New York. I mean, I think Caleb Williams might just go just because he's Caleb Williams. I think Marvin Harrison might get over. I think Blake Corum, he scored in every single game this year. He has 18 touchdowns, which is insane. I think Blake Corum should get an invite from Michigan.
Well, I think they've been handicapping Corum as well. Yesterday was the first time he really didn't split carries. Yesterday,
you're right.
He took it. He took over.
No, you're right. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. He's 18. Yeah, he's 18 touchdowns this year. Like you wouldn't even know he had 18 touchdowns last year too. He had 11 as a sophomore, right? I mean, he's not yards wise, he's not balling, but
no. Every time they get into the red zone, though, he's on the football field.
He's on the football field, right? Yesterday it was obviously his big game. I think he may get an invite to New York. Maybe he should, just because he's been a great back the last 4 years.
He should be the only Michigan player invited.
Yeah.
Give me that JJ McCarthy nonsense.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that's about.
I got questioned when I didn't have him in my top 5 for the Heisman candidates. I'm like, really?
I'm not sure what that's about either. I think he's okay. I think he's good, but I don't know if he's a Heisman guy. I don't. No, I think he's a Jim Harbaugh quarterback. Just don't mess up, bro.
Yeah.
like you know what I mean? Just run the football, hand it off to the best guy behind you, and just don't mess up. Make the right throws. But yeah, I think the Heisman candidate is going to go to a Pac-12 quarterback. It's really going to come down to Bo Nix and Penix Jr. and what they do these next couple games. They have some pretty big rivalry games coming up with Oregon State and Washington State, Apple Cup, and they have the Civil War with Oregon and Oregon State. I don't think they're going to meet in the Pac-12 title game. I think they're in the same division. They're in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I don't think they.
Yeah, so Washington holds that tiebreaker in the Pac-12 North. So I think that's kind of hurts Bo Nix a little bit. That's why it hurts them a little bit, right? Because he lost head-to-head to Penix Jr. So it's tough, right? It's tough. One more comment. If old boy at Georgia ain't get hurt, he will be also in the discussion. Brock Bowers probably would be. Brock Bowers probably would be. But Brock Bowers is going to be a top 5 pick. And I think that's probably a little better than a Heisman consideration. He's going to be amazing in the NFL. I can't wait to evaluate him more. He's going to be incredible in the NFL. I can't wait to see what team he goes to. Man, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about Brock Bowers and where he goes. I really am. By the way, peep the reception story, or I think it means redemption on JJ McCarthy. They're going to do their smelly best to convince you he's good. Don't fall for it. I won't. I appreciate that heads up. I won't fall for that.
Nah, we haven't been falling for it all season.
I won't fall for that at all. He's Jeremy Shockey without the drugs. Brock Bowers? Damn, that's a I haven't heard. First of all, I haven't heard that name since like 2010.
Wow.
Like, what a name. Jeremy Shockey. I haven't heard that name in a long time. I think from what I remember, I think he's a little more athletic than Jeremy Shockey.
Like, I think he is too.
Yeah, I think Jeremy was a great reception guy. I think he's a little more athletic than Jeremy Shockey, from what I remember. But don't be surprised if somehow the Ravens end up with Brock Bowers, because obviously Todd Monken, the whole connection there. They'll figure. I don't know. We'll see. But hey, we want to thank you guys, man. Thank you guys for waking up with us if you're on the West Coast. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know NFL games are going on right now. I know the 4QQ crew is upset with me because I don't have the thread up yet, but I'll get it up as soon as possible. I want to thank everybody for coming up, man. Come up here and talking college ball with us. We're going to do this every Sunday hopefully before the games start next time, so you guys can watch some NFL. It's going to be a wild end of the year. Really, really want to thank you guys we want to thank Trisha, Kevin Class, Kevin Oliver, and everybody else who joined us today to talk college with Dennis Holmes. We're going to link up a little later. Appreciate that, bud. And watching us and talking college football. We're going to be back, of course, every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. Talk about the week of the NFL, week 10 of the NFL, at those games going on right now. And then, of course, Sunday, we will do our best to help. We'll do our best to review the week of college football on every Sunday as well. Thank you guys very much for joining us, man. And it's been a pleasure. And we'll see you guys next week.